So, I hear you've been wanting to start your own YouTube channel, eh? Well, today is your lucky day, friend. To celebrate reaching 2,000 subscribers here at Temple of Akasha on YouTube, I've decided to dedicate today's video to convincing you as to why you should start your own YouTube channel. There are, of course, a myriad of benefits to starting a YouTube channel, some more obvious like for promotion, business, marketing, etc. But today, I really want to touch on the spiritual benefits. I really want to emphasize why it's such a great tool for spiritual evolution and soul growth, and how it can really support not only your own evolutionary process, but perhaps in turn, you beginning to embark more intentionally on your dharmic path. Plus, at the end of the video, I'll give you a few tips on how you can get started with exactly what you've got. No excuses. I'm about to get all Dave Goggins on your ass. Hello and welcome to Temple of Akasha, the home of embodied spirituality with me, Natasha. Here we weave the sacred, the soul and the sovereign back into the organic web of life. Thank you for joining me today. If you're new to the channel, I really invite you to like, subscribe and share this content if it resonates with you. It really helps my channel reach the right people, and we've got a beautiful burgeoning community of light beings here. I offer a free monthly circle every single month. You can join using the link in my bio. We're back up and running this month as I was traveling last month. I currently have a selection of one-to-one services available, and I'm in the process of creating group programs, courses, and accessible resources to really suit and support as many people as I can. So stay tuned, lots of exciting stuff to come. Now, before we dive into the specifics, let's just speak about YouTube for a moment. Why am I advocating for YouTube as a platform over other social media and other video content creation sites? Given the fact that it's YouTube, it's important to acknowledge the totality of what we're dealing with here. YouTube is very heavily censored. It's very anti-freedom, especially given that it's owned by Google, and Silicon Valley seem to be really intent on pushing the transhuman agenda and making sure that we as a humanity are in a space of degradation. And so it is important to acknowledge the fact that YouTube does have its limitations. It does have its drawbacks. It is not a clean platform energetically, and the people driving YouTube as a platform are really questionable. However, we are living in a time on Earth where almost everything has been compromised and infiltrated in some way. And the alternative platforms like Rumble and BitChute, they're still pretty sketchy. The search functions on those platforms isn't particularly good. They aren't very user-friendly. The interface is kind of messy. So at the moment, YouTube, in terms of creating this type of content, you know, short form and long form videos, this is the best we've got. And it has a reach that is really, really incredible. And so, given all of those factors, given the pros and the cons, we have to utilize what we can during this time of awakening. The benefits to me outweigh the cons at this point, in that I can reach many, many people very, very simply using this tool, which is currently free. And I can also really disseminate my message in a clear way where people are hungry for long format content in a way that they're not on other social media platforms. And although there are certain topics that are off limits and that we have to be really careful about how we speak about, generally speaking, we can still do a tremendous amount of work to support the anchoring and the integration of light on this planet via this platform. And that's really what I focus on when I'm on here. I focus on the light. I'm focusing on what I can share to uplift the web. And I recognize that there are drawbacks. And in time, we will probably start migrating over to other platforms when they're more well established. Okay, now we've acknowledged we're in the middle of a spiritual war, and that when we utilize YouTube or other platforms owned by big tech companies, we are kind of siding with the enemy to some degree. It's worth noting that we can be Trojan horses in here. You know, we're here to interrupt, pattern interrupt, disrupt the fear-based matrix from the inside out. That's how we can utilize these channels and these platforms for good. So with all of that said, let's now focus on the specific reasons why creating a YouTube channel, having this platform is so instrumental in beginning to really walk the dharmic path as a healer, a guide, a teacher, why it's such a powerful tool to really stimulate and lubricate creative energy, why it can really support awakening and illumination within, as well as building community and potentially even a business. Number one, it is an incredibly powerful tool to do shadow work. When you start a YouTube channel, you are confronted with yourself. This is such a powerful mirror and reflection, this tool, this medium, for you to witness and acknowledge all the ways that you are not anchored in self-love, where you are not harmonized within, where you still have loyalty or allegiance to fear-based conditioning, the inner critic, stories, narratives, a rampant mind. You will really start to notice this stuff when you witness yourself through this medium. And that may start at the more kind of tangible level of reality with your physical appearance. I myself have had real crippling self-image issues, especially with regards to my face. And when I first started my YouTube channel, that was my biggest barrier, having to see myself on camera. I really don't like photos and videos of myself. I don't like witnessing myself in that way. That feels like a pretty common predicament from a lot of the people that I've spoken to. And so you will really be confronted with all of your self-image issues when you start a YouTube channel, which to me is an amazing thing, because we are not here to live our life stifled by and consumed by the fear-based conditioning through all of these limited and wonky narratives that we hold about ourselves, to also be living in a world where we continue to diminish this physical vessel, this avatar that's been gifted to us by the divine. We're not here to live in a state of constant self-veneration. And so it's important that we acknowledge these things, that, okay, yeah, I still have a lot of insecurities. For me, it's around my teeth, my nose, that I don't have a symmetrical, perfect face. I mean, who does really without surgery? But, it really forced me at a personal level to see myself. And then I actually had to make a decision, because the self-image issues and fears became so intense that I was faced with a choice point. And the choice is, do you choose fear or do you choose love? Do you choose the old conditioning? Do you choose limitation? Do you choose to feed the wolf that wants to criticize, that wants to diminish, that wants to keep you small? Or do you choose to feed the wolf of empowerment? Do you choose to feed your true nature? Do you choose to feed the soul? And I wrote down this line as I was preparing for this video. Who you truly are and what you've got to share with the world is so much more important than your insecurities and your loyalty to the fear-based conditioning. And that's really what you've got to come into this process with, because you're going to be confronted with potential self-image issues at a very kind of superficial level. And so you have to make a choice. You're going to see yourself, you may be editing the videos yourself, you may watch them back. You're going to have to make peace with the fact that at the point of filming, right at the inception point of starting your channel, you may not be in a space of self-love with your self-image. You may not have that loving connection to your body. It can be built and fostered over time, but making that commitment to showing up, to letting the creative energy and your true expansive nature move you, and not be a slave to the conditioning that says, oh, you're too ugly, you look terrible on camera, no one's going to watch you, and not let the stories and narratives run the show. It's a really fantastic tool to refine us. It's a really great medium to help us refine our consciousness, to become aware of the stories, and to actually make more conscious choices about how we show up, how we move through our life, how we move forward. And of course, that's just at the superficial level of self-image. And then, of course, you may have all manner of insecurities and other shadow aspects that emerge when you really start to show up. And this can take many forms. It could be that you really don't like the sound of your own voice. It could be that you have other criticisms and insecurities about how you move, how you breathe, the things you say. I'm not coherent enough. I don't make any sense. I'm not articulate enough. I've got a lot of Polish friends, incredible women who really, I think, should be on this platform sharing their medicine, and they often cite that not having English as a first language is a barrier for them, and that they feel insecure about that. And that these are beautifully articulate women who weave the English language together in their own unique way, and these are the neuroses that we focus on when we're confronted with a mirror like this, because we're so hyper-focused on ourselves, we think the rest of the world is. And the reality is, you'll start to notice as you post on this platform that your authenticity and the frequency from which you share is so much more important and is felt so much more than all of these tiny things that you might be focusing on, you know, because although you're the center of your universe, you're not the center of anyone else's universe. And so there's humility to be had here, you know, recognizing like, yeah, okay, this is a really big mirror for me to see, you know, the self-image issues, the ways in which I really don't feel anchored in self-love, the ways in which I feel, you know, really insignificant or deficient in some way. And I still choose to recognize that those are just stories, and those are stories that I can work through, and that I can use this platform as a mirror. So when I'm triggered, I can start working with those triggers in real time. You know, what's coming up, what's the story here, feeling those things, and then letting the creative energy, letting your soul continue to move you, to fuel you, because there's so much more to you, and there's so much more, there are so many more benefits to be had from creating and sharing your gifts than not creating and sharing your gifts. And that leads me on to point number 2, which is the opportunity to share your gifts. You know, these platforms are such an incredible way to reach people we would have never been able to reach even like 20 years ago, let alone hundreds or thousands of years ago. We live in a globalized world, and there can be, you know, many cons to that. And also this web, the World Wide Web, the internet as it currently stands, is a pretty incredible tool to be able to connect with and disseminate our medicine. And that is a major gift of being on YouTube. It is a powerful way to first show up, you know, and to do the shadow work process of witnessing ourselves, and then to choose consciously to share our gifts, to begin to share our unique medicine with the world, which is also, you know, a major shadow work tool. All of these things I'm sharing are going to be really challenging, potentially, points of alchemy for you, and that's why they're so powerful, because they're going to trigger things for you. And sharing your gifts with the world, being witnessed in your gifts, is probably going to be something that instills or perhaps evokes a lot of fear, and that's exactly why you should do it. So I'll give myself as an example. You know, I started this channel just talking and sharing about some of the experiences I was having during the height of the madness of my Kundalini awakening, when I was experiencing reality in a very multidimensional way. And it was absolutely terrifying to share the fact that I was experiencing non-physical beings, you know, that I was channeling. And yet the urge from my soul was to share, to get this information out there. There are important messages that would be very helpful to be heard by some people. Just share. And so the process of saying, I'm going to share my gifts, I'm going to share the medicine that I've got to give the world, it's going to bring up all of the residual fears, karmic fears, ancestral fears, as to why that doesn't feel safe, you know, because we have historically, especially when we're dealing with, you know, our spiritual gifts, whether that's our intuition, you know, our kind of oracular nature as mediums, whether that is, you know, our psychic abilities, whether that is our sound medicine, our energy healing medicine, you know, any way in which we are becoming conduits for the divine to work through us. This triggers a shitload of witch wounding. This triggers that old residual part of us that remembers that there was a time when we were condemned and punished for our ability to commune with God, Goddess, you know. And so sharing our gifts online, not just sharing them, because actually just even giving ourselves permission to share them can be one thing, but to then be witnessed in those gifts, it's huge in terms of our potential alchemy, inner alchemy and transformation. One of the big challenges for me on here was sharing my light language. I had so many fears and preoccupations around my light language, about being witnessed in it for so long. I felt so alone in what I was experiencing. I knew that it was benevolent. I knew that it was light, but it felt so odd to my ego to be able to move energy in this way and to share it in this way. And yet there was this overwhelming sense that this is light. This is light in motion. Share this with the world. And the responses I've had to my light language have been really incredible. But it was absolutely terrifying to put myself out there and to share those things. They felt very vulnerable. It felt very exposing. And that's the medicine, you know, leaning into the very things that scare us and not letting the fear own our process. So sharing your gifts via your YouTube channel, being witnessed in those gifts, it's so profound for inner healing. The third point I want to touch on is the ability to strengthen your voice using this platform. So I have quite a strong throat center, and I've done a tremendous amount of work over the last 10 years on really strengthening Vishuddha, the throat center. And in human design, I have a defined throat center. So this is naturally one of my stronger centers. But being on YouTube has allowed my throat center to strengthen in such a way now where when I articulate and when I share with more presence, I share with more authenticity, I share with more integrity, I share with more honoring of my truth, and I share with a conviction. And it's a very embodied sense. It's a real sense of I have used my voice to really understand what truth sounds like and feels like to me. And I continue to refine myself through that process of really moving energy up and out through the throat center. And so when we're on YouTube, not every single channel is dedicated to speaking. Some are music, some are just filmmaking. But generally speaking, most people that will want to start a YouTube channel will want to use their voice in some way, to narrate or to share or to explain or to teach. And so having a clear voice, having a voice that allows our unique frequency to flow up and through is really important for our dharma, actually, for us to serve the people we're here to serve, because our expression, when it's authentic, is very activating for members of our soul network, for our people. And I've seen this so many times in client work now, where just speaking, just sharing words from my heart that feel true and authentic brings people to tears. It moves them, it moves energy, because this is all just vibration and frequency in motion. And so you can use a YouTube channel as a platform to begin to refine your voice, to use your voice, to strengthen your voice, to understand what feels like truth for me, and can I speak that truth unapologetically? Can I speak on the topics or the subjects or the areas that might be in some way taboo, or in some way might be points of contention that feel really important to me? This is a great platform for saying, this is my teeny tiny corner of the internet, and this is how I roll. If you don't like it, you can go and find someone else's channel to watch. It's a really powerful platform for coming into our power. And one of the main ways we express that power, our connection to our power, is through our throat centers. So it's a really powerful tool for strengthening your voice. And I would not let a throat center that feels underdeveloped deter you. If anything, that should be encouragement to focus on it even more. When I started my YouTube channel, the quality of my voice was different. My confidence at speaking to the camera consistently was different. I still have times when I muck up when I'm recording, but generally speaking, my ability to flow the energy that I want to express up and out is much more easeful than it used to be. So time, patience, consistency, these things build mastery. These things build a refinement within our systems. So the fourth point that I want to touch on is its innate capacity to feed our creative energy. This is such a creative process, creating YouTube videos from start to finish, end to end. It's a really creative process. Even if you're very unsophisticated like me with your process, there's something that's really, for me at least, very fun, very playful, very creative. And if you are like me and have perhaps not always felt like a creative person, I'm not traditionally very creative, I'm not a particularly good drawer or painter, YouTube has actually been a way to show me that I really do have creative energy within me. We all do, of course, that I do have an inspired energy that wants to move through me, that I do have the ability to create and to vision and to move my creative energy up and out into the world. And so just as an outlet, as a tool for creation, it's a really fun way to move creative energy. And you'll probably find that as you create for YouTube, as you create for your channel, you'll be inspired in other areas of your life too, because nothing works in isolation. You know, we're not compartmentalized beings. When we start to move energy in one area of our life, we often start to move energy in all areas of our life. So, you know, for example, creating the thumbnails for these videos on Canva is a really fun process for me. That's one of the parts that I most enjoy. And so there are so many ways in which this process lends itself to lubricating and stimulating our creative energy. And you can be, you know, way more creative than I currently am. You may wish to start creating almost kind of like short films or documentaries or, you know, vlogs. And there's so many ways in which you can use this medium to create and to inspire others also. And so just as a creative tool and a creative medium, as a launch pad into other areas of your life where you want to be creative, it's a really good place to start. It's easy. You really don't need much tech or equipment to get going. And there are ways in which I'll share at the end of the video, ways in which you can begin to make your creative process easier and more fun. And that can then be a kind of launch pad into more creative energy flowing through your life, through your vessel, and out into the world. The fifth point that I want to touch on with regards to how creating a YouTube channel and creating content on this platform serves soul growth is its ability to cultivate a soul community and network. And so when I first started my YouTube channel, I was fairly new to rejoining social media. I was on Instagram, and then I started creating on YouTube. And I found that particularly on YouTube, there is just this overwhelming sense that there are other people far and wide that are on a similar journey to you and that you are not alone. And it's a really beautiful way to feel seen, heard, validated in your own journey, and to also provide that same medicine for others. And so it's a really beautiful way to start cultivating a community. And that doesn't need to be for any particular outcome. It can just be for your own soul joy and benefit of having a network, of knowing that you are part of a wider tribe. And as is often the case with the Lightworker community, we are often stationed in many different places across the world. We have a global soul network that we're a part of. And so it can feel a little bit isolating on this journey. We may not at a kind of geographical level have people within close proximity to us that we resonate with, especially early on in our journey. And so being on YouTube and sharing ourselves authentically, sharing our gifts, our medicine, and creating in a way that feels authentic and energizing, it really does start to magnetize in the people that resonate at our frequency. And that then begins to really feed a sense of belonging, soulful nourishment. You know, many of us feel like black sheep in our families, in our local communities. Many of us feel often quite isolated in our multidimensionality, in our awareness, and on our spiritual journeys. And so just from, you know, a very kind of nourishing standpoint, creating a YouTube channel will start to connect you with individuals that are also in similar positions to you or resonate with what you're saying. And you will start to foster a sense of belonging, connection, community, togetherness, and intimacy to some level that I think is really beautiful and unique. And that can be accessed on other platforms too. But I do find that the community that's forming here on YouTube and the comments I receive here on YouTube compared to Instagram, people are really vulnerable on this platform with me. People are very authentic, and they bare their hearts here. And so there's a real sense of connection, which may not be tangible, and I may not meet any of these people, but there is just this kind of deeper, richer sense of togetherness that can be formed from just sharing ourselves authentically via this platform. And because this platform tends to favor long form content over perhaps other social media networks, people also get to know you perhaps in a more personal way, in a less contrived way than perhaps Instagram, you know, which is quite slick, you know, and it feels a little bit too shiny for me a lot of the time. And so I really love just getting to show up here, you know, with no airs and graces. I'm a human expressing and hoping to connect with other humans and other divine beings. And so this platform has a kind of unique way of almost being a window into someone else's life and experience that allows for deeper and richer connection than I think other platforms do. Now, if we are beginning to consider using YouTube as a medium, not just for our personal and individual evolution, but also perhaps as a medium through which we can begin to mobilize our Dharma and perhaps even create, generate, or promote a soul business, this is a really fantastic way to do so. I would say that 90% of my clients come through YouTube. So I don't have to advertise for them to find them. I don't have to advertise to find these people. I am not hassling people in their DMs. I'm not soliciting people. That energy feels really gross to me. It's just not how I'm here to work. I'm a projector in human design, so also I have a tendency, in my auric type to magnetize as opposed to need to kind of work from the more kind of masculine paradigm. And so I find that YouTube is a really great way of not only serving that kind of individual soul growth, but if you then have this vision for a soul business or in some way serving your Dharma, then you can also use this as a platform to promote what you do. It's content marketing at the end of the day. I, after graduating, had a role for 2 years as a content marketer, and I now see the divine gift and wisdom of being given that role, which at the time I found quite boring and dull, especially because it was in HR. But I see that I learned so much about the value of content marketing during that time when I was in that role, which now helps me to understand why YouTube is such a powerful platform for helping us to reach the right people who we're here to serve at a soul level, either through our free transmissions or working with them in a paid capacity. And so that is also the gift of YouTube. Many people work from strategies and formulas when it comes to their soul businesses, and they're copying coaches who have emulated someone else's formula. And I am realizing that that's absolutely fine. You can work from that way if you wish. But my soul has always said to me, you're not here to copy someone else's strategy. Let the energy guide you. And that's what I'm here to share with others. I'm not here to teach you or sell you something that I want you to copy and emulate. I want to support you to cultivate a connection to your own authentic frequency so you can be the determiner of what you do in your life. I don't know your energy better than you do. So I'm here to help you get to know yourself better so that you can make informed decisions for you. That's my role. And so, by me being authentic, sharing my authentic desire here, you may or may not be drawn to then work with me in a one-to-one capacity. That's also what I do in my one-to-one work. And so there's a unique opportunity with YouTube, because if you really show up in an authentic way, letting your soul drive the process, you are rewarded by magnetizing in the people that are ready, available, willing, on board with your mission, your Dharma, your frequency to do the soul work. And so just as an aside to the other points, if you are looking to build a soul business or expand a soul business, I feel that most people should be utilizing YouTube as a stream. Again, the reach is kind of exponential. There's so many people on this platform. There are so many people you can reach. If you keep showing up authentically with consistency and commitment to this platform, you will reap the benefits of it. And it's free. And you don't have to sacrifice your integrity to do so. And so that's why I also really love this platform, because it allows me to both do the things that I love to do at a personal level, and it also connects me with my soul clients who really want to work with me and receive the medicine that I offer in a more personalized way. And there are, of course, other ways that you can begin to generate an income from YouTube. If you reach a certain milestone on YouTube, which is 4,000 watch hours and 1,000 plus subscribers, you will be monetized as a channel, and so you can begin to earn money from ad revenue. Of course, there's the option to have paid sponsorships and paid partnerships. There are many ways in which YouTube can actually become an income stream in and of itself through memberships, etc. I don't claim to be an authority in this area. I know I'm not utilizing this channel in the way that I could to maximize the monetary value I could derive from it. At this point, I've been really focused on creating an authentic platform, which is driven from a soulful place first, And that's something that's really important on my journey, that I continue to make my why more important than what is possible at a financial or material level. That comes as a benefit after, but my why is because I absolutely love to create sacred spaces. I love to bridge the seen and unseen realms. I love to support people to evolve, to empower themselves, to grow. I love this process of becoming lucid and awake in this dream of life. And so that's my why, and the mobilization of this YouTube channel to be more of an income stream for me is still something I'm working on. So this is not the video to watch if you really want to understand how to make the most out of the kind of economical opportunities here on YouTube. There are lots of other people that are much more business and tech savvy who can support you with that. But this is just a little aside to say that, of course, there are other ways in which you can earn money on YouTube and from YouTube by sharing yourself, sharing your gifts, sharing what's authentic to you while you show up on this platform. So now we've covered the why you should start a YouTube channel. Let's cover the how to start. And it's actually a lot more simple than you might think. The mind will really love to create excuses as to why you shouldn't begin to expand and grow and move towards areas of growth, because they're going to feel scary, they're going to feel unfamiliar, they're going to feel uncertain. That's just the way the ego structure works. We don't listen to the ego structure, okay? You're here to continue to feed your soulful evolution. And so the number one thing when you're looking to start your YouTube channel is to recognize that you can start right now with what you've got. And I already know the voice that's swirling around in your head that says, but I don't have the right tech, and it's going to look amateur, and it's not going to be professional looking, and it's not as slick as other people's channels that I really like. No, it's probably not. And you can also evolve it to become that if that's your desire. If you're really going to invest in the channel, of course you can evolve it to be something more slick from a production standpoint. But it's really important that you just start. So I am currently using my MacBook, and I just record on Photo Booth for these videos. I'm going to soon be evolving to record with this, or perhaps even a bigger camera that my beloved will teach me how to use. But for now, I just record on MacBook, and of course I've got headphones, and I'm using a headphone set with a mic. It's not a sophisticated setup. It's very inexpensive. In fact, it doesn't cost me anything because I already had headphones, and that means that I can just get going and share with you. And that's the thing with starting your YouTube channel. Recognize that what you have to share is more important, especially if it's coming from that really soulful place within you. If there's a fire burning to share, what you have to share and the frequency you share from is more important than how it looks and how it's configured. Okay, people aren't coming to you because you're providing the slickest production. They're coming to you because they want to hear what you have to say. They want to see your medicine. They want to experience your medicine because you're providing value. And so that also leads me on to another point that's really important, to understand and really drill down on your why. Why are you starting a YouTube channel? What is it that's really motivating you to get up and to film? What is it that you want to create? What is it that you want to inspire within other people? What feels alive and juicy for you? What's going to continue to get you to show up on this platform? You know, so you really need to understand what your offering is. And contrary to lots of other people on YouTube, I don't believe you need to have a niche. We are multifaceted, multidimensional beings. I think it's a very outdated paradigm, business paradigm, to say you've got to have a niche and you've got to, stick to your niche. Niche channels can be great if you really want exponential growth and you want to grow really quickly and you want a very focused audience, and you have kind of like a business mindset of how you want to grow it strategically. Nothing wrong with having a niche. But in terms of just starting and letting the soul move up and out and into the world and express, don't worry about having a niche. Let what's alive drive you. Let the energy move you. Just remember that you sharing is more important than you not sharing. You actualizing and moving forward in your Dharma is more important than you not doing it. So don't let tech be a barrier. Don't let focus or lack of focus be a barrier, these channels naturally evolve and also almost shape themselves over time, as with any project, the same as a book. You might start writing for a character or a storyline, and you might not know where it's going, but it will naturally start to take shape. This is how the creation process works. Sometimes when you pick up a pen or a pencil or a paintbrush to start creating art, you don't know what you're creating. The creation moves you. So let your heart move this channel forwards. If you're coming at this from, a soulful, spiritual angle, let your heart, let your energy move and shape this channel, okay? But I would recommend that there is some containment before you get going, as to, there is a mental element to this where you've considered and you weighed up, what it is that you want to focus on. What types of subjects are you interested in? What do you feel you're an authority on? Or what is it that you feel you have gift-wise that you want to share with the world? Get clear on those things and allow those things to then inspire the content you create. And the last thing that I'll say is start before you feel ready to start, because you won't actually feel ready to start. And I even have days when I really don't feel ready to film a YouTube video. I don't feel in the mood to film a video. I've been a bit sloppy recently because of all the change and transition in my life, and now I'm in New Zealand and I was in the UK, and there's lots of other factors. But ultimately, this is about showing up and dedicating yourself to your vision and nurturing your vision, and allowing yourself to show up for yourself and show up for what it is that you want to build. And so don't wait until you're ready. That's another trap of the ego. I'll start when I have the tech. I'll start when I feel, more qualified to speak on this subject. I'll start when I, have a more refined, sound, or a more refined vision. Just start and let the refinement process happen naturally as you move the energy. And a really good place to start is an intro video to your channel. So, that is also allowing your audience to understand why they should subscribe to you. It gives them a launching pad, a place to start. You don't have to necessarily start with a really formal sit down of like, hi, this is my YouTube channel, this is why I'm doing it. That might be a place to start, or you might have a different way that you want to introduce your channel. You might have a more creative way you want to introduce your channel, but just start and post something. Get your YouTube channel set up, get the channel name established, ask for guidance on, how you can capture the essence of who you are and what you do and what you want to share with the world, and then just start and be consistent. Consistency is really important if you want to build some degree of success here. I have seen in my own experience how when I'm consistent with posting on this platform, my content gets seen by more people, it's circulated more widely, I tend to get more views. So the YouTube algorithm does favor consistency. And it's also really helpful for building discipline, because when we are in these creative energies, I have had a tendency to lean into more, I'll post when and as and when I feel, ready to, when I feel alive to. And I am starting to recognize that some direction and containment of my energy is needed now to continue to grow this thing. Because actually I've got loads of content I want to make, and it's up to me to be disciplined enough to keep showing up and making that content. And there's an added benefit that it reaches more people, that I can cover more subjects because I'm posting more frequently. And it really keeps the kind of momentum going. So just to summarize, start with whatever tech you've got, and you can buy other tech later. I bought 3 microphones for this YouTube channel, and actually none of them seem to work with my particular MacBook, so that's why I don't use them. But I bought 3 microphones, and I put off starting for so long, and in the end, I just got going. And I got going with my mobile phone, and then I switched to working on my MacBook once I bought this MacBook, also because I just found it much easier to just open it up and be able to see myself, and then it was a more streamlined process to upload it. So just start with the tech you've got, okay? Understand your why and clarify your vision of the channel. Just start today. Do something today. Take a step towards actualizing the channel and getting it going right now. And really take action, because you're going to experience potentially these kind of self-sabotaging behaviors of, oh, I'll do it tomorrow, I'll do it next week, I'll do it when, if, blah, blah, blah. Just start and really recognize that, you know, there is a process of commitment that's needed here if you really want this to be an outlet that is successful. And so there is that element to it as well. And it's, again, as a way of supporting your own soul growth, refining your process so that you show up regularly, and that you're dedicated. It is a process of also becoming more masterful, of containing your energy, of using it in a way that's devotional and dedicated, which also really supports your soul's growth and evolution. And finally, a couple of little pointers. Again, I'm not a tech expert. There'll be many other channels out there that will be able to speak about this in a lot more detail, but just a few things. I would really recommend, if you are debating getting an Apple Mac or a MacBook of some kind, I really recommend it. Once you go Mac, I don't believe you'll ever go back if you're really invested in the creative process. It's such a better interface for creating, and you have the added bonus with Macs of getting iMovie installed. I'm assuming that's still the case. I'm using a refurbished Mac, so I don't know if that's the case for the new models, but having iMovie saves the cost of having to use Photoshop or some other editing software that you might need to pay for. So in terms of a tool, if you're interested in recording or editing via a computer, most people will be, unless you want to use your phone. Having a Mac is just, it makes this process so much more easeful, so much more pleasant, so much more streamlined. But you can do this on a phone too, and there are apps that will allow you to kind of chop up your videos, which is what I did in the early days, either on Android or on iPhone. So I really recommend investing in or utilizing a MacBook or a Mac if you've got one. I also recommend using Canva. So Canva is free. There's a paid for version that I invest in, which I think is like £11 a month or something. And it just gives you access to lots of images, text. It allows you to create thumbnails. It allows you to create kind of branded headers and banners and, you know, lots of different content. And it's just a really great tool that's going to really support your creative process with your YouTube channel. So my intro I made via Canva, and I think when you access the paid for version, which there may be a free trial for, you can also get access to music and audios and videos that you don't have access to otherwise. So Canva's a really great tool for creating in general online, but it's really supportive of creating a YouTube channel. So if you have a camera, either on your phone or your laptop, you can get started. Use Canva to support, you know, creating thumbnails, and maybe an intro video if that resonates for you. Ideally, you know, having something which is going to pick up your audio a bit better than just the mic on your device. Headphones are fine. They'll do the job. I would recommend having one of those as well. And that is pretty much all you need to get started. There are really no excuses. It doesn't have to be fancy. It doesn't have to be expensive. And look at me, you know, I'm using the most basic tech. I'm at 2,000 subscribers. My channel's been monetized. I'm not earning loads of money from it right now. That's not the goal. But I am getting 95% of my clients from YouTube, and they are really soul-aligned, magnificent human beings that are coming into my field to work with me one-to-one. And so for me, getting started with what I've got has been really worth it. And now I'm at this stage, because I do like quality, I am planning to evolve the quality of my content so that there is better audio, so that there is better kind of visuals, so that it's a more enjoyable experience, because I also want to create a space here that feels really sacred. And I have kind of an idea of what that looks and feels like when it's refined a little bit more with better tech. But for now, you know, this has really served me, this setup, and it goes to show that, you know, you really don't need very much to get started. You just need the will, the discipline to show up, you know, yourself, courage in your heart, and there's so much that you can achieve with, you know, starting with very little. So I hope this video has inspired you. I really recommend that you take action after this video. If you have a vision to start a YouTube channel, as many people have reached out to me and suggested that they have the vision, start right now. Get in your notepad, start journaling, start heartstorming. What's the vision? What kind of names are you thinking of? Allow your intuition to start feeding this process. Ask your soul to gift you a name that's going to be resonant, that's going to, be aligned with you and your essence. Get this process going. Set up on YouTube. Get your email address going. Play with Canva. Get a banner started. Create your first video. Play with it, but just do something and get started. Don't feed the wolf of fear. Feed the wolf of love and empowerment. And I promise you, you won't regret the process of getting started. So I really look forward to potentially seeing your respective YouTube channels. And I'm going to suggest that if you do start a YouTube channel, that you comment your handle in the comments section below to promote it so that we can see your channels. And let's use this video as a way of encouraging each other and inspiring each other, maybe sharing a bit about what your channel's about or what your vision is. But really, that's why I'm here. It's to help mobilize your soul to be more embodied and expressed in this life, in your reality, because that's what serves the organic web of life when we are fusing our divinity with our humanity. So I really look forward to connecting with you again in the next video. Again, if you're not already subscribed to this channel and you enjoyed this content, please consider subscribing, liking and sharing it with people that might resonate. I'll see you again soon. Take good care.